Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
As always, guys, please do subscribe both channels, Evolutionary Energy Arts, where we go back and forth in the eternal Groundhog Day between 66.4 and 66.6 thousand subscribers. But we know, I mean, we hit 66,000 in like the first year. And then they just put the brakes on. But that's all because we are, as Cindy was just telling me, we were having a little conversation, and she says, well, we're using their technology. We're behind enemy lines. What do you expect? Yeah. It's true.
I know it's their merry-go-round. We're the ones going on to their playground. So yeah, I mean, they're not going to make it too friendly.
No, they're not. And EEARTS climbing slowly, but climbing steadily and slowly. And we want to thank our patrons. We couldn't do it without you guys, and also the supporters over at Ko-Fi, where you could do a one-time donation or monthly as well. And do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com when you get a chance. As I'm going to put it right out there. I'm going to start a prolonged fast on Monday.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, prolonged. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I just want to get things done. I want to get things done. And, I always find that after a fast, man, your mind is sharp, your energy is high, and you're just buzzing naturally. Well, at least, honestly, I should preface that by saying it all depends on the individual because, again, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat anything that at least I know is... I eat everything organic, at least organic to the level that we have on Earth, which is not very organic when you get down to it.
That's true. I mean, we really have to be picky and choosy to get things that are natural and healthy for us. And then even still, we have to detox.
Yeah, absolutely. Constantly. Because the reality is everywhere you look, every way you go, there's distortion. And, it's amazing to me still how we have so many people, not so many, but they're very loud. The ones that support the flat earth theory are very loud, very vocal. And, I'd say it is a most definitely a minority in this time. But, there's distortions everywhere. And you can understand why, because, so many times NASA's been caught out with obviously faking photos. We understand that. We have gotten so many things, such as, the moon landing's totally fake, again, but that doesn't mean that you can't travel into, space. And then you get people making statements that space is fake. And I just think, it just boggles my mind, but it shouldn't, it really shouldn't, because again, when you look at the diet that we're given, if we're totally asleep, and I was sort of there for a period of early adulthood where, I was just so much in the machine that, I ate maybe in ways I shouldn't have eaten. Maybe, back when I was 18 to, say, 23, I would just, if I was hurting, I'd grab an ibuprofen or something like that. All that kind of like stopped for me at a certain point. And it was a long time ago, really. And I realized that, everything that is out there is all about deadening your senses, deadening your ability to perceive truth. And when we're talking about that, we mean the food, the water, the air, the frequencies, the FIVEG, absolutely the FARMA. That is the biggest thing. There's no way if you are on that you and any of it really, because everything we're seeing here is truly a manufactured falsehood. And so where's the truth? And I understand how people could be looking all different directions. You might look into the past, or you might look way past, as far past as we can go. And still, without going within, you're just taking hearsay. But when you go within, you truly can be free. But it takes dedication, and it takes a lot of time. And again, I saw another comment yesterday that said, somebody said, well, it took them 8 minutes to get into the video to start talking about the main topic. Well, if that's where you're at, go to TikTok, because it's where you're at until you can detox and until you can develop some patience, because there's so much more to everything in this world than what you're going to get in 3 minutes.
And, there is a development process about it. When children are young, their attention span is very, very small, and it just takes time to get you have to crawl before you walk. You have to walk before you run, but we got to start somewhere.
And so what's going to happen is, as we've been saying, humanity is going to split. Humanity is going to split, and you're going to have what's going to appear to be superhuman people that are developing naturally, but in reality it's just what we are when we're outside of a dark age. Nothing superhuman about it. It's only superhuman from a reference point of the lack of ability of humans to tap into all the abilities they truly do have that have been forced off. You could view that, we've had these things turned off. We could look to our second chromosome and see that there's some sort of fusion there. We could look to our junk DNA and say, why is there so much quote unquote junk DNA that appears to do nothing? Because they've given us a minimal operating system. This is what they've done. Who's they? Well, the real controllers, not the puppets that we see, not the politicians, not even the ultra rich CEOs, COOs, and certain families. Not them. No, the real controllers that don't want you to know that they're not human. And so, you're closer to the truth when you're starting to talk about demons and non-human entities than you are if you just think it's a deep state cabal. And that's uncomfortable enough, but it doesn't stop at just demons. This is where they are always dividing us, because they want you, and we do recognize that there are demonic entities, but then there's extraterrestrials as well, and many extraterrestrials have interdimensional capability, meaning they could shift their perspective, they could shift their consciousness up and down a ladder of consciousness depending on where they want to center their frequency. And just last night, we were talking to another bunch from a different place we were communicating to. Now, this is no big deal. Yogis can do it, and you have Buddhist monks that can do it and do it on a regular basis, and many others that have meditative practices. If you look to shamanism, and shamanism not just originating in Mongolia, but shamanistic practices, animistic beliefs where everything is basically source. Source is everywhere. God is everywhere, in everything. There's all different layers to our reality. There's the seen world. There's the unseen world. This is what the indigenous people of the world knew. They've always known this. And you can communicate when you go Australian Aborigines, dream time, and we are returning to dream time. Well, where are we in dream time? We're in 4D. And when we were waking, we were in 3D. And now, we're going to be going to being in 4D the whole time, so to speak. But some of us also in 5D when we're meditating, and perhaps 5D when we decide to, discard these bodies and move on to something bigger and better. But again, we can also look to medicine men, what we might call witch doctors and stuff, communicating with spirits of the deceased. Hey, it's in the Bible even, communicating, but there's a prohibition. Why? Because they'll tell you that the reality is not what the belief system has told you. And you can't have that. And that's why they can't have us talking to people in other densities, and also beings from other planets. Many people have had abduction experiences, and both Cindy and I, and some of you out there as well, have actually, a part of our consciousness has been up in a ship. And in some cases, on a regular basis for upgrades and for downloads and things of that sort. And yeah, there have been times that I have found myself, above the planet, looking back down at the planet. And what do I see? Well, I see, basically something that looks spherical. And again, others have done this as well. And then there is also so much more, proof out there of this, just in the order of things. It's a fractal multiverse, for lack of a better term, multiple universes. And again, if we view it as multiple universes, then we have to, really look at our definitions again, because what we take as a universe is really just a single cell.
Right. And one of the first things that I did when I astral traveled is I went out to outer space, and you can see the Earth, and it is of a global nature. But another thing that I saw really blew me away was a huge eyeball out there in outer space. And, it was really uncomfortable for me to step out of my comfort zone, but I knew that I had to. I was very much appreciative of the Bible. I was very much wanting to do the right thing to the best of my ability, but there was something itching inside of me to step out of that construct, because I knew that there was more. And we're made to be very, very afraid of other people who may have stepped out of that construct. Sometimes families just sort of step away from anyone who has a realization that, and they shun that family member. And I find that to be kind of sad, because it's not that they're a bad person. They just understand and energies in a different way. And it's actually a way where people are able to advance, with their energies, and able to connect with source in different ways. It's not that they're bad. They just know more things and they want to explore. So we should encourage that with our family members and even ask questions.
Absolutely. So, in the future, none of this is going to be up for debate, because you're going to have one classification of people that regain all that's been lost, and will be able to right away read somebody's energy, read their aura, their energy field, read their intentions. Again, we were communicating last night. Cindy was going into partial trance with beings that were actually, not from here, and very unhuman-like looking, but had interesting information, because they come here too, because they're actually monitoring the pollution levels of the planet and watching it. And you wouldn't say they're definitely not malevolent. They're not demonic. They're not really here to help us solve our problems. They're just observing. And in fact, probably that's the majority of beings out there. They're just checking out what's happening, because wow, there's a lot happening here.
And isn't that the basic nature of everything is observing? That's something that we could really learn from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are very intelligent, and these beings are of mid-fourth density, so they're not where the devas are and our higher guides are. They're basically not far from where we are, and in reality, when we're in dream time, so to speak, and many people, when we are out of the body, we're where they are. So we're in that same density, and it is part of the natural order of things. And so somebody made the comment, you gotta check out Eric Dubay's 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, which I think I had watched some of his work. It might have been this exact one, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And of course it didn't resonate with me, because, my experiences, my direct experiences tell me that it's not flat Earth. And, but somebody had brought it up, so I wanted to just address it. And then I thought, I want to see who this is really, and get a feel of his energy, and get Cindy's take on his energy. So Planet Plane is the YouTube channel, And you see, he gets a little wiki, flat Earth. The flat Earth model is an archaic and scientifically disproven concept of Earth's shape as a plane or a disk. Now, we see this with the Anunnaki. We see this with things concerning the plague upon the land. So right away, when you get a Wikipedia like this, to some people, it might show a sign of validity. Uh-oh, well, maybe there's something here. And this is exactly what they intend to do, because they know, again, you got to realize they understand people are going to be waking up. So as people wake up and we start to realize the moon landings were faked, a lot of the stuff we see on NASA is faked, they're going to start questioning everything. So you could trap people in rabbit holes. And this is what they do. They actually have people that create rabbit holes. And these rabbit holes will often lead into a false dark area. So it might be a neutral kind of rabbit hole to a degree, in that it's not going to harm anybody, but they might give you other information that can start to bring you down a path that leads more into the darkness, that they're going to be able to control you. They always want to control you. They always want to control you. That's the thing. And they know they can't stop people from waking up. We're going to realize all the illusions that are around us all the time. So again, those that wake up and recognize that there's extraterrestrials. There's always been extraterrestrials. The evidence is completely overwhelming. You cannot spend your entire lifetime covering all the evidence. You won't have enough time to get through all the evidence. There's that much evidence out there. It's just, it's almost limitless, really, when we start going down these rabbit holes. So what are they going to do? They're going to admit that it's out there, and they're going to end up doing the good cop, bad cop with the Enkyites and the Enlilites, because at some point in time, the Anunnaki are going to show themselves again, depending on if we stay on the timeline that allows them to show themselves to us. So we've talked to several different beings, and in actuality, when I was thinking about it, and I said, well, we probably have talked to maybe a dozen different ETs that are not of our guides, not of the devas. I think it's actually much higher over time. We've talked to probably maybe dozens of different extraterrestrials that are not our devas, not the Galactic Federation, just totally people, because they are people, even though they might look really weird, that are just kind of checking out what's happening on Earth. Now, the draconian AI, Anunnaki, Ijiji, secret societies, they don't control the whole galaxy. They don't control our whole quote-unquote solar system. And it's interesting to note that these beings didn't really look at our solar system like we do. Again, that's another distortion. We've gotten that there's 39, 40 different planets. When you go through the densities, there's many planets that are going to appear. And they will appear as being physical in the future. They're just a little bit outside of our vibrational frequency right now. And then we've also, uncovered that there is what they keep calling a black sun. And so, but it's not a nemesis. It's not, again, it's nothing that's bad. It's nothing that's going to destroy us. And we'll cover how that moves. And of course, it moves in a way that we would totally expect it. And in fact, we are in a triplicity of suns in our local area. There's 3 that travel, together around each other. And so, that's something else that we'll get into bigger detail about.
Right. Different light, different energy creates form. And we have all kinds of different form here on this planet to observe and really explore. And it is really no fun to be stuck in your tracks, unable to. If you believe outside of that, you're feeling anger. That's a form of control. And I think my only problem is I see people getting hurt when they're stuck in certain belief systems, like little children getting hurt. There is a problem with organized religion. with when it comes to children. There's something there that needs to be opened up. So that's why I am okay to speak about that, because it is being opened up. People are going to expand their consciousness and understand that we live in a symbiotic world and there is no walls shut down right in front of us. We are able, and we should have permission to just simply explore like little children.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can. And, like I was saying to a friend recently, I don't mind going to bed and just not being able to sleep, because I'll just go into a meditative state. And I like being out and about. There's an Irish term for astral projection, which basically translates to being out and about. And it's just fun to basically go out and be able to fly again as an orb, your consciousness as just tethered to the body, but totally free of the body. So when we look at this video did get over 1 million views, and it was posted 6 years ago. 200 proofs Earth is not a spinning ball. And these are some more of his videos. And it hasn't been a lot of activity. As you see, it says his YouTube channel terminated, but it's still here. And that was 3 years ago, and it goes on back. So who is he? That's the thing. I wanted to see, who is Eric Dubay? I want to read his energy, and so we found him on IMDb. And, we could tell things immediately when you look at somebody. This is why we ask for photos when we do energy work, though we can also remote view and get an impression, especially of the energy body. But it tells so much. So, the impressions that Cindy got and that I share is that we think he's very intelligent. Yeah, it's Cindy's big nod.
Extremely intelligent. So that's a a huge compliment for this guy. But it's, what do we do with that intelligence?
Yeah, but we do understand. We could also see, and when we get from the guides, exactly how he gets his information.
Right. That's something where I don't want to hurt anybody. So I just sit here and I accept the information. It's not a judgment call. I think a lot of people get confused about that. They think that when you get channeled information, you're somehow making judgment calls, but it's not. And I can see this guy works with AI. So that was something that really came into play. Is the first thing that came. He works with AI, and he has some communication with AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he basically feeds questions into the AI system on how to best answer certain questions, and so, what would be the most efficient way to navigate this scenario? What would be the most efficient way to navigate that scenario? How could we answer this? How could we answer that? Plug it into the AI, and the AI gives you answers.
Mm-hmm. It's just something, it's like when you have a responsibility. Now, one thing he has done, he has gotten people to expand their consciousness and hopefully expand beyond any roadblocks. And that I do appreciate.
Absolutely. So again, you have to, ask yourself, okay, so if they're utilizing AI, where are the biggest AIs on the planet? Hello. Just who is in control of well, actually, who is controlled by? Oh, the most powerful AI on the planet. And it, you just got to go down that rabbit hole and see what you find. And then again, recognize the answers. As we're saying, as people wake up and recognize that some things are lies and distortions, there's an opportunity to catch them in another lie and distortion. And that's exactly what is being done. Some people might knowingly be doing this. Some people could actually be on payrolls of certain alphabet soups. Many are. And ultimately, the alphabet soups, again, who do they report to? There are some within all the organizations on the planet that are actively pushing for change and that are trying to reform from within and are trying to also be whistleblowers. And we're seeing more whistleblowing all the time. But you got to recognize there's going to be whistleblowing, and then there's going to be immediately, now that you know this truth is out of the bag, okay, here's the way we're guiding you. And we're guiding you into another untruth. We're guiding you into another rabbit hole that we know leads to a labyrinth that goes to nowhere, or it goes to a little bit darker place. And so, again, when we look at people, and especially if you get to see the eyes are the windows to the soul. And you could see everything that's going on. And you could see, the chaos that lies inside, as well as the peace, the calm, and the searching for answers. So this was one of his personal quotes, and it's talking about that guy that rose to power. And this makes perfect sense, because I've noticed that a lot of times there's people that will go down that rabbit hole and just throw out, Earth is flat, space is fake. And then they'll actually think that this person was a nice guy. ADOLF. No, he was not a nice guy. No, read the energy. Yes, everything has been rewritten. Yes, there is distortion. But again, you got to realize, even that was another actor. That's another actor. Do you think that he wasn't an actor? He was an actor. He was a pawn. He was another tool, just a tool for, the real puppet masters. Yet a very high level tool. And we can remote view and see where he is now, and he's on that lower astral plane, so to speak. Although it doesn't really, the interesting part is he doesn't feel necessarily like he's ever really died when you get down to it. So again, there is technology involved that would blow people's minds.
He doesn't feel like it. It feels like he hasn't gone anywhere, and it feels like he's not going to go anywhere. So he's in like this stasis of energy where there's really no ups, no downs. I mean, it's just not a very fun place to be emotionally. Like here, we get to grow, we get to expand, we get to experience the bad, we get to experience the good, and in that experience, our soul grows. But with him, it feels very, very flat lined. So I don't think it's a very happy place. But with anything, we look at it in a way where's the positivity here? Because we really have to keep a positive space in our mind, and we realize, okay, well, this is what we do not want, and this is what we do not appreciate, and this is what we will not create in our own society. So these people definitely have a way of giving us the opportunity to know what we don't want. And once we know what we do not want, then we have a better direction in our lives. So there's positivity.
Absolutely. Well, I got it sitting right next to me. Oh yeah. So, here you see again. Now this is another, and from what we are seeing, what we are feeling, we feel this is a total psyop. This is a complete psyop. This is again damage control, as everything is damage control. Okay, hey, we got one that could see that. Yeah, the moon landing was faked. A lot of the Mars pictures are coming out of, Nevada and New Mexico. And, a lot of things like that. So let's trap them down this other loop. Let's get them down this loop. We could catch them. We could lock them up in here. They're going to cause more distraction. They're going to cause more time being spent on something that's meaningless. And they're not going to see the bigger picture. And then again, on the other side, you got, those that recognize the ETs. And now all of a sudden, they're like, hey, come home, Enki, we miss you. No, we need that reptilian love fest, because it ain't going to be a love fest. It's going to be a barbecue.
It is. It's going to be a barbecue, but this isn't to say that anyone is bad. People are in various ways channels of information, and if you have that ability to channel, many times the government does use you, and they do assist you, and they can channel information through you. So these are all things that we need to keep in mind. I believe humans are innately good. They want to do the right thing. So offering people that opportunity to expand their mind. But you know what? People expand and then they go right on by, and then they end up being free. And you know, that was my story with the Bible. Were it not for the Bible, I would not have walked on this spiritual path. If I didn't walk on this spiritual path, I would not have realized who I am.
Yeah. And again, just as above, so below, as within, so without, and then look to nature. Just look to nature. We were talking about spirit orbs because this is our natural form when we're out of the body. Does that look square? Does that look rectangular? No, it looks roundish. Again, it looks orbish. That's why they call it a spirit orb with a little happy face there. Happy face.
It is cute. I mean, look at that face. That face is full of delight.
Now, you know what? Here is the lie, and here's the distortion, but here's the truth. So, you know, what we see as the moon up there is not real, and it's actually a holographic projection, but it's still round, and it is round in reality. Oh, isn't that curious? Hi, guys. Hi. So yeah, the moon is a holographic projection, actually, to the place where the moon really is. Okay, wait a minute. You just said the moon's a Yeah, what we see is a holographic projection. The moon is actually fourth density. It's on the same density as Nibiru. And I have watched it go blank. And there was somebody with me, and we both looked at each other. We looked back up. It was blank. There was no craters. And then all of a sudden, it was appearing like this again. And I don't know who did that. I don't know if we caught a glitch. I don't know if it was the guides to, remove the illusion or something. I really still don't know to this day, but all I know is I saw it clear as day. So the moon is really up there, but you just can't see it. And what we have been seeing is a holographic projection of the moon. And, the reality is, it is definitely a base. It's hollowed out. And it's a ship at this point in time. It was towed and brought in here by the Draconian Anunnaki EGG Empire, so to speak. And at some point in time, it will be again, and probably not too far off. It should be totally visible without the holographic projection, but it might not look exactly the same. Right. Yeah.
Right. It's just something that we're all going to have to get used to, the way we see things and the way we perceive things and our understanding. And it really is a time for rapid growth. And during those times of rapid growth, there can be a lot of growing pains. There can be a lot of confusion. There can be a lot of information thrown back and forth. And that's why we're always talking about find out what's true for you, because that's the most important thing in the world.
We look at the sun and we don't see square, diamond, we don't see rectangular, we see something that's round. And we've talked about sun simulators, we've talked about actually the fact that the sky, it has a holographic overlay over the entire sky to basically block out ships that are coming and going all the time. And, again, when we look out past the sun even, and, there's been so many photos of the sun. Sometimes we see doubles. Sometimes we see triples and sundogs and quadruples. When we look, and I've looked through telescopes, more than one telescope, and looked at Jupiter, and what do I see? I see something that, again, looks round. And I see the 4 large moons as well, and they all look round. They don't look square. They don't look rectangular. They don't look diamond-shaped. They look round. Are they all flat? And that's just always one size, facing us, with no motion. No. Again, we know that's not really the case, because, this is the natural order of things. All the planets the same. We've been able to look at Mars and Venus and Mercury through a telescope as well. And binoculars. When we look up at stars, again, the stars themselves, yes, they twinkle. Yes, they are intelligent. Yes, you can send out a thought to a star and it will respond to you. It will often respond to you. You'll see it starting to twinkle, and the twinkling might shift, because, again, these are beings. These are amazing beings. And then we can look into a microscope, and what do we see? I don't see diamond shapes. I don't see squares. I don't see rectangulars. I see basically round. cellular mitosis. I mean, yeah, we can go into different forms of bacteria and things like that. But when we look at cells again, and we see that cellular mitosis and how something that's round splits into two things that are basically round again. And, is there an impenetrable firmament above us that nothing could go through? No, absolutely not. Is there a separation between what we would call space and the Earth's atmosphere? Of course, yeah, the atmosphere. There's different layers to it. Again, you could look to a cell. A cell has a permeable membrane, but yet the membrane keeps it whole. It's the same thing with our atmosphere. It's permeable. You could penetrate it, and beings do all day long, all the time. As above, so below, as within, so without. So yeah, if you remote view the Earth, you will see it is, roundish. It is spherical. And again, everything in this particular universe may be just a holographic projection from a different reality. Again, as it's written, we are just basically living in the dream of God, so to speak. And so, the problem is that people look for their validity in the Bible, which is truly, as, I've been on record 30 years ago saying the Bible is the controller handbook. And same thing with the Quran. I mean, these are the most published books in the world, billions of copies. Don't you think it's the controllers that are giving it to us in the first place? I mean, it's just obvious. This is the mainstream news. It is. And there, it's a shock to the system of many people, but it is the reality. And so, yeah, no, we're not living under a dome that nobody else can come into or out of. And when we look to the beings that gave us these books, again, you're looking to all those that are in the secret societies and in the ruling empires of the world. I mean, here you have Magellan quoted as saying, the church says the earth is flat, but I know that it's round, for I've seen the shadow on the moon, and I have more faith in a shadow than in a church. Well, yeah, because again, church is about power, it's about control. Again, everywhere is the realm of God, the realm of source. Everywhere, above, below, within, without. And you'll see depictions, again, that people will take as being, reference to the flat earth. Here you have something that's very similar to an Ouroboros, or the snake eating itself, and the plane of the earth, and Norse mythology with the tree, and the Egyptian. Again, well, when we're on the ground and looking at it, it does appear that everything is flat. But in reality, again, we're looking at a cell. We're looking at a cell. Look at the Mayan, the Incan. Think of our planet as a single cell, then you have a clearer picture.
It's a really good time to explore and open yourself up and find new understandings. And whatever path you're on right now, consider that a path to a new beginning, because we're all in a certain stage of this consciousness. And if you're just struggling and you're trying, you're having an awakening and you're just not sure which way to turn, just sit down and quiet your mind and meditate and enjoy something in nature. I have learned in my life, if I simply enjoy nature, enjoy looking at a butterfly, enjoy looking at a flower, it really slows me down and centers me. And with that slowing down of the emotional body comes answers. Answers come with that. So that's how we really find those answers. And sometimes that's what we need to keep moving forward.
So again, we look within, we look without, and the answers are all around us. It's all around us. We just have to notice. There's really, these mysteries are pretty obvious when we just take the time to actually do go within, and to actually do notice things. Nothing better than spending time unplugged away in nature. Just you, just Mother Earth, just her creatures, and be quiet, be still, and know that I am God, right?
Yeah, I know we were just talking to someone yesterday and he says, I cannot for the life of me sit and just quiet my mind and meditate. There's just no way that I can do it. And I asked him, are you able to sit and look out in front of you and simply enjoy the beauty of the lake, the mountains, Mother Nature around you? Guys, that's a form of meditation. And isn't it wonderful that that's probably the easiest meditation people can start with? And I do encourage that. And then allow your energies to slow and settle. Just breathe in that fresh, crisp air. Nature has a way of balancing us.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we can read. There's tons more we could share about him, but we wouldn't do that because we don't want to infringe on his privacy and all. But again, as always, thanks for being part of this family. May you be blessed by the creator of this particular corner of our multiverse. And as always, namaste.
Namaste.